We've got these little seedlings that we've grown from seed. Kind of a mix of red oak, there's some American chestnut, and honey locust. So they don't look like much right now, but I'm going to repot them into some bigger pots. Not a big job, but at least it's another thing off the list.
Well, and we need to get all this wood cleaned up anyways before our new wood comes, so it's a good one to work on today.
So I'm going to mix up some soil here in the wheelbarrow. First, I'm going to, I've got some sand from the little pit. I'm going to mix up what's left of this soil here in this bag. It's been sitting in the woodshed for months. And here, a moment. And we did out our worm bins, and basically this is kind of what's left. So I'm going to mix it in. This was the first go. It's not bad. It's a little chunkier than I would have liked, but
for trees it'll be fine.
it should work great. So I'm going to add this to here.
It's quite wet.
Yeah, it is in the bottom. It's been sitting there in the house for a little bit, but may have to add some more soil here in a minute, but yeah, I'm just going to mix it. I'm going to start with this honey locust tree, which actually grew pretty good, considering that was started last spring from seed. So, yeah, I can do this.
Do you want me to pull up?
Maybe a two-person job. Just, you can just take some of the dandelions out. That'll be that one, and we'll get some, don't have it today, but we will get some mulch on this before too late. That'll help it for the winter.
So we ran out of soil, so we got to go pick up some more of that, but we did get a few of them planted. Chris got two the chestnuts, American chestnuts, and we got 4 of the honey locust into bigger pots, which is nice. We like those. We use the pods. You can feed them to the animals.
So, another thing, another little job we're doing is we're planting some comfrey. My friend Myles the other day gave me some bocking 4 comfrey, which is pretty awesome. Some of his plants looked really good. They were huge. But anyways, we've kind of got, what, 4 of them in the ground here. They kind of look a little
wilted,
but the roots didn't dry out, so we're going to put them in, put a little bit of mulch around them, and hopefully next year they establish really well. This is a relatively sunny little spot.
Yeah, we're planting them amongst the cherries that only kind of half of them survived, so
yeah, this is a good as place as any.
Well, it gets good light. It's part of the food forest, which is what we kind of wanted.
And it's away from where something's going to eat them, since
yeah.
we don't have the goats. I'll water these once you get them all in, but
we've got 1 there. 2.
I'm going to put this
3.
root in the ground and see what happens with it.
And I missed 1 back there, so that's actually 4.
It's not bad.
And then Chris is going to put in the...
We have to dig some more holes because we got a couple more.
Last guy here.
Little guy. Hopefully it does well here. It's nice sandy soil, so.
Well, and it gets lots of sun. It's protected from wind and stuff, so that's why we opted to put the cherries here. So we'll see how the cherries do through their first winter, since they didn't do so well through their first summer.
Yeah, we'll see. We shall see. We did manage to completely finish the job. So these were the sort of sad looking little seedlings that we had by our woodshed. And it's basically on this end up here, there's 2 American chestnuts, which we actually bought the seeds for those. Which is fine. They've grown really well, so they're going to be a bit of an experiment for our food forest. Then we've got, how many do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 8 honey locusts. Last winter we kind of went a little, not crazy, but we collected a bunch of honey locust seed pods and kept the seeds and did the whole boiling the seeds to get them to germinate and etc. etc. And between what didn't germinate and then what sort of subsequently died thereafter, this is what we were left with. So not unhappy with that at all, and hopefully these little guys do well. There's one we're not sure how it's going to do, but we potted it anyways, kind of let the winter sort it out. And then we've got 4 little red oak seedlings, and not necessarily for us the most useful thing, but they kind of come with a bit of a story, so they're going to eventually make it to our food forest. They kind of made the trip with us here last year, but in a bit of an unconventional way. We actually found them all sprouting in the soil that we brought from our raised bed. So the chipmunks last year decided to store some of these from our old place, and they sprouted, and we were kind of like, well, they've made it this far, so we'll give them a chance. So still all doing pretty well, which is awesome, and we'll come back to this basically next year. Still kind of debating whether or not to once we get the greenhouse done, put them in the greenhouse for the winter, just to kind of give them a bit of extra protection, or find a little bit of a sheltered spot for them to sort of tough it out over the winter. So maybe somebody else has some better suggestions on which option to go with, but we do have, and I didn't, I'm too far, but this big honey locust that came with the property, there's 2 little seedlings that popped up this year from last year's seeds. We didn't really get a lot in the way of seed pods on this year, which is completely fine, but anyways, we're going to dig those 2 up and add them as well, but we didn't get that far today. So, but can't complain with a job that you can actually check off the list. All the trees, seedlings, have been transplanted and are basically ready for the winter. So, on that note, as it's starting to look kind of stormy, I'm going to go help Stephanie finish up the chores.